Hi, welcome back to part 2. So the next thing I want to do now is to start with the widget. So the first widget I intend to create will be the checkbox. So let me give it a name. So that will be maybe latte or the first one. Let's just put in a call that checkbox. Now I want that inside. Let's see where I want that. That'll be my frame FF1, I think. Let me run it and see. Let's run it. I would like that to be right in here, so that will be the FF1. So let's go back in there, take that off. I'll just call that F1AA, not FF1. So the text on it will be, let's call the text laptop or laptop, whatever it's called, and let me put a space on it. Let's close, get rid of this one. Just a tab, comma, and variable equals var1, actually, which means I should declare some variables. So let's maybe declare the variable here, paste that in there, and let's just say string. So that's my very first variable declared. Okay, since I think maybe I should just change this to integer. Anyway, let's change that to integer, and this very first variable, let's give it a value of that's 1.set, make that 0, the value of 0 in it. Okay, that's the very first one set. So I'm going to need about 15 of those. So okay, let's finish this one first, then we'll come back to the variables. Alright, now let's set the following property. The value, let's set that to 1, and of value, let's call that, let's set that to 0. So when it's on is 1, and when it's off the value will be 0. Okay, now the font, let's copy that, copy my font which is already in there, paste that in there, and change that to 18, and then comma, or for now let's just close that anyway. Let's close it. Dot grade row equals 0, and column equals 0 as well. So we'll close that. So that is the first radio button created. So let's save and run it, and we'll see what we've done so far. So far that's the first radio button right there. It's inside the frame. So if I copy it, I can just copy and just enter 8 of those, 7 more of those. I mean, that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So one more there. So that's my very first one. So I can just change this one to, this one will be 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So let's save and run, then you see what I've just done so far. Here, those are the radio buttons. So we need another set of 8 radio buttons here. So for the other set of 8 radio buttons, okay, now these variables, before we do that, we need to change those to as 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. If the system do not see all of those variables, there will be an error. So let's copy this and just create those variables. So this will be 2. Let's get rid of that and just copy them. Copy. Let's okay, now those variables are ready. So that will be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 8 variables there. The other one I also need another 8 variables, so I can just copy all of these 8, paste it here, and just change the numbers. So that's 9. So we just speed that up. Okay, those variables are all ready now. You can see from 1 to 8, 9 to 16. So let's group it together. Okay, if you notice the very first checkbox here, the variable was set to 0. So I'm going to set from 2 to 16. Let's set that to 0 as well. That's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So the first 9 is just number 8, so you understand what I mean. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I'm gonna just speed that up. Okay, all the declared variables, the values in there will be default, or I will default it to 0. Okay, so they all have 0 value in there. All right, and those are the variables. Now we've created the very first one, that is it right there. So we also need to create the second one. In the case of the second one, we need that to be in the right hand frame, and the right hand frame will be F1AB. So let's copy this, copy, and take it down and paste. Nope, that's the wrong one. Let's copy again, edit, copy, paste it right down here. So let me just put a space here so that I know which is which. This is for cakes, paste, and here this one will be for drinks. Copy that, paste that in here. That's for drinks. And this is F1AB, F1AB. So we have to change all of this to F1AB. So that is the frame for that before we start changing the names. So all I just need to do now is file, save. Let's run it and see what we've done so far. And there I have both all my checkbox. Okay, you can see they are all now responding to the clicks, because I have to change the variables. This one is supposed to be 9. That is 9, and that will be 10. Okay, just speed that up and get back to you guys as well. So I've changed the variables. I've given each of the checkbox their variables or allocated variables. So if I run it now, there, and if I click, they are all individual in their own rights now. Okay, so now we don't want all of this widget to be called latte. So let's come back here. Okay, let's give them their various name. I think the spelling of this is with an E, latte. So I'm just going to leave that there. So this one, I've changed that to espresso. Okay, so let's do that now. So that becomes espresso, yeah, espresso, and change the name inside there. copy that and change this to espresso. Okay, and this one, let me call this one ice. Just call it ice underscore latte. Or shall we call it iced? And change this one to an E. So I will repeat the same thing for all, then get back to you guys. Okay guys, now I've finished naming individual components properly, and there they are. That's the latte, espresso, ice, latte, their coffee, cappuccino, African coffee, American coffee, and iced cappuccino. There they are. And I've also add one more property. Okay, strictly west. I want them to be aligned left. And the drinks, here are the drinks. Oh sorry, here are the cakes. So these are the drinks and here are the cakes. Okay, now for the cakes we have coffee cake, okay, red velvet cake, black forest cake, Boston cream cake, Lagos chocolate cake, Kilburn chocolate cake, Carlton Hill cake, Queen's Park cake. There they are. Okay, so the only thing that I would need for this now is to use a command to get them working. But let me run it and you guys see what we've done so far. There we go. So the other thing we then need now is we need right here, we need an entry widget here. So let's create one. We can just copy that one once it's created. We need to create one for this and for this. So let's create one first. Maybe we'll put the entry widget underneath here. So let's just copy this, paste that here. We're going to need two. One is going to be for drink and the other one will be for entry. Let's call it entry widget for drinks. So this will be for drinks and this one will be for cakes. There. So we start with the drinks first. So with the entry widget for drinks, let's call that txt latte equals entry, and that goes to frame f1 aa comma, and the fonts, just copy the font, paste that in there. The font in this case, let's change that to 16. The next thing is, let's go for bg, bd equals 8, the width equals 6, and justify, let's justify it left. Now let's set the state of the component. Let's ask it to be disabled. That is the state of this very component. And now txt latte dot grade, let's position that in or on row 0 column equals 1. Close that, and that will be all. So let's run it and see. Run that. Right there, that is the widget right there. If you notice, it's grayed out because I disabled it. Okay, if I take that off, cut that off, save, and you guys will see it with white background. There it is. Okay, because it's disabled, that's why it's grayed out. Okay, and you can also enable it by just entering normal there. Okay, that's another way to get it enabled. All right, let's run it and you see what I mean there. Okay, so I'll just go back and do that. Undo there. Okay, that's that done. I'll just copy that, paste that in here for the drinks, that's for cakes, sorry. Now come in here, just enter, break that apart. Okay, let's change this widget to txt coffee, lowercase, let's make that uppercase. Alright, and now we also need to change the frame to F1AB. Okay, and that is that done. So if I run it now, let's run it, you will see both components. We have one here. Let's see why this one is not there. Okay, we need to change this name as well. Copy that and just paste it in here. Okay, hopefully that's the error taken care of. There, so you can see both widgets right there. They are both disabled for now. So what I will just do is to copy and paste, then speed up the whole process. Let me start with this, so that will be okay. I've copied and pasted this one, so all I just need to do is to change to that's column 1. Okay, this one will be row 1, row 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. Okay, so that is that. So let's do the same thing for the other one. So this one will be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. Okay, so run the program and see how it looks like. There guys, now I have all my widgets in place. Okay, I just need to take care of 1, 2, 3, and there's one frame right there that you guys are not seeing. It's right there somewhere. Okay, so the only thing I'll just do with this widget now is to give them proper names. Okay, so which you guys can do. I'll just pick that up anyway. Okay, now let's design these frames, these 2 frames, and this one. There's another frame here, but you can't see it. Let me just change the size. You see, if I come in here now, okay, there we go. There. Let's change that to about maybe 4, and this one to 200, and you will see there's another frame there. Alright, can you see the frame now? So both frames are there. Let's just leave it like that for now. Okay, let's continue with that and maybe just do these 2 first. Okay, so those 2 frames that you were unable to see properly, let's come down here, and one of them would be just for information and receipt and so on, and the other one would be just for buttons. Let's copy this. This is for buttons. Okay, right in here. Now let's say LDL receipt equals label, and the label will be inside frame ft2, comma, and just copy this, paste that in there. Then let's say the text on it will be, let's just call that receipt, and there, that's it. And maybe change the font size. Let's change that to 12. Okay, now comma bd equals 2, and let's close that and just come in here, right here, say dot grade. Okay, that will be row 0, column equals 0, and let's just say strictly equals west. There. Okay, now underneath I will now create another one. Let me just copy this instead of typing all over, paste that in here. But in the case of this one will be text, and just change the name to receipt, and this one too, change that to receipt, and that will be rule number 2, rule 2 or rule 1. Rule 1 column will be 0. Okay, so the font here, let's go for about 11, and the width, let's go for 59. Justify, get rid of all of these, I don't need them really, get rid of them, and I think that should do it for now. Okay, let's just come to run and see how that will look like for now. Okay, there's something missing there. Oh, equals, rule equals right here. Okay, save and run again, and you see what I'm talking about. And right there, guys, so we have our text widget there, and underneath here let's add some buttons underneath here. Come back in here, just speed that process up. We have our buttons there now. There they are. Now have a good look at it, run the system, and there, so we have our buttons in place as well. Okay, so with that I'll call it the end of the second part of this tutorial, and see you guys in the third part of this tutorial.